Good evening, Sooner Nation. Welcome back to the Sooner Surge. Thank you so much for everyone that subscribes to our channel, that watches every single night. All the usuals are already in here, a lot of them. Appreciate everyone in the Sooner Surge community. We couldn't do this without you. And because of that, tonight, you guys, as most of the nights, we're going to roll with what you guys want to chat about in here. Obviously, big news today, the 20 million donation, 10 mil each to baseball and football. That's massive. That helps. Every little bit helps, and that's a lot bit, Jay.
That's huge. I mean, baseball-wise, I think it's really going to – I know they were wanting to do renovations to L. Mitchell there, so that's not all you need, but that helps big time. And then, you talk about two-sport U. It seems like more and more now you're starting to get some players that play two sports, and, this helps both sports. So I think it's great. And I think obviously the Sooners want more of that kind of stuff, but that's just awesome to hear on a Monday morning, $20 million donated to your university. How cool is that?
Ricky asked if it's for facilities only.
I don't think it specified what it was for. It just went to the program, $10 million to football, $10 million to baseball.
The only earmark I think on those is the earmark towards the program, Ricky. I'm not sure. I've not seen any language in the contract that talks about where it's got to be earmarked to.
Haven't heard that word in a while. Earmarked, huh?
You probably don't even know what it means, Jay.
I don't know if I do know I know what bookmark. Is it the same thing as a bookmark?
Yeah, it basically means designated funds for that specific use.
Gotcha.
You learning something here on the Sooner Surge, Jay?
I learned something every night with
listen,
you.
I'm a little upset. Because I was in the middle of watching a movie. It's a movie that every time it's on, I got to watch it. I don't care if it's on 5 times a week. I'm watching it.
Is it a sports movie?
Nope, it's not a sports movie.
I know what it is then.
What?
I'm just going to go ahead and guess my guess. I'm going to shoot my shot. Knowing you, it's probably National Treasure.
That is one of them. It's not the one. You actually gave the answer away of that, Jay, right before you said your answer. What did you say right before you said your answer?
My shot?
You're going to shoot your shot.
But it's not a sports movie.
No, you just said the answer pretty much.
Really?
Mark Wahlberg, it's Shooter.
Oh, that's a good movie.
It's a great movie.
It's not his best movie, but it's a good movie.
What's his best movie? Invincible?
The Italian Job.
Oh, Shooter is better than the Italian Job.
No, it's not.
Absolutely is.
The Italian Job is unbelievable, dude.
Hitch is another one that I'll watch every time it's on if I see it.
You know what? I've kind of grown to not like Will Smith as much in his movies. I used to watch it a lot, but
really,
yeah.
Bobby says Four Brothers. Believe it or not, I've never seen that movie.
I haven't. Now, Few Good Men is one of the best movies of all time.
Absolutely.
And Jeremy, you can't handle the truth sometimes from the viewers. Can
I can always handle the truth.
You like that?
Yeah, I like what you're doing there about last night. Invincible is great. So, Jay.
Yeah.
Fasusi, August 21st, commitment date. The other offensive lineman that OU's in on. Is there a commitment date on that one, Jay?
Balboa? I'm trying to remember if there's a date on that one yet. But, hey, OU's only going to have 2 or 3 more guys that I think they're even after here to get as far as it comes down to the end. I think you're banking a lot on Michael Fasusi. I think OU is too. It's a huge, huge commitment if you're able to land him. I think it. Dare I say this? Does Michael Fasusi make or break this class?
Yes. Well, they got to have a 5-star in that line, I think, when they had so many chances. Yeah, Ricky thinks Balboa Stanford bound. Hey,
yeah, there it is.
Christian Jones. I do think they're going to land Christian Jones.
Yeah, Bobby says no on the Michael Fasusi. There it is.
No, I think he's saying no on Stanford bound.
Okay, Topher says early to mid-August.
I was thinking it was August 6th.
And that's what I think a lot of people talked about in here, and it's kind of been just the thing that everyone has said is that most people think that Oklahoma we'll have their class done by the time the season rolls around. It looks like they will, one way or the other, probably for the most part. Hey, what about the
Wolverine?
What about the Netflix show coming out with Connor Stallions, dude?
Yeah, I haven't seen the previews of it.
I'm gonna watch it though.
Chester, that's exactly what I think. 3 spots, maybe to 5 or 6. Jay, OU basketball.
Another one.
Gets another guy. As Bobby said in the Discord, where is Porter Moser? What have they done with him? This is not the Porter of the past.
No, I disagree because I think Porter Moser, since he's been at Oklahoma, has recruited really well.
Yeah, I actually agree with you, Jay. It's just he can't keep guys and he handcuffs guys.
Okay, but to say he can't recruit, I mean, look at who they've gotten in the past 2 or 3 years. I think he's done pretty good recruiting. I don't think that's.
But the question has to be raised: how come he can land all these recruits and never play them on the floor?
Now, and we'll see this year. I mean,
Hayden Cooper never sniffed the floor.
I said make or break. I said make or break year for what make or break the recruiting class for Susie. Well, this is a make or break year for Porter Moser. Period. Bar none. And I understand Greg God's talking about losing. Hayden Cooper will never sit right with me. That was just a weird deal. I don't know how that didn't pan out.
He doesn't play athletes very much, Jay.
Ron says Basusi and Kennedy seen at Walmart in Austin.
Yeah, and I heard they both went out of Austin. And Jay, for everyone, when the Texas Tech softball coach said it's a great day to be a Red Raider, everyone was like, "Woo! Woo! Kennedy!" No, it's not. It may be, maybe it is tomorrow, but it wasn't today like everyone thought.
I still find that hard to believe that she would go to Texas Tech. I know the money.
You have the number 2 ranked class in the nation.
I know, and I know all the money that people are talking about. I just don't see that. I don't know. We'll see.
Guess who I saw the other day? Guess who I saw the other day in Tulsa?
He does play some freshmen, though. Uzan played as a freshman.
Guess who I saw in Tulsa?
Who?
Former big man for OU. He was one of those blue-collar guys.
What years?
Probably played in 99, 98, 2000. From the Tulsa area, Jay.
Oh, it would have been Renzai Stone or somebody.
Renzai Stone.
He's still with OU, I think.
Yeah, he was. I don't know if he still is.
I think he's still with OU. Kevin Bookout, what a player, dude. Kevin Bookout was freaking amazing. Topher.
Oh, yeah. Great shot put and discus guy, too, Jay.
Unbelievable. You going to watch the Olympics this weekend?
Well, it's more than a weekend.
USA barely pulled it out again.
It's more than a weekend.
It starts this weekend, Jeremy.
Yes, it starts this weekend. I'll catch it. Hey, we kind of talked about some position groups. Of course, last night we really talked about the college football playoff predictions and where they were, who we thought was going to be in it. But I think it's time to start turning our attention to this Team 130 and maybe by position groups each night. Let's start breaking some of these down because I know we've done this and done this and done this, but still, it's fun to do. And I really think maybe arguably the deepest position group on this team is the secondary.
Yeah. Are you talking specifically defensive backs? Or are you talking the back seven? Or are you talking about safeties and defensive backs?
I'm talking about the secondary, Jay. It's DBs and safeties, bud.
Okay.
And Jay, I'm just going to throw some names, and I want you to say, maybe we can do a little pass take, Jay. Pass take here. We'll say a player, and you're going to pass or take if they're going to play 50% of the plays.
Oh, gosh. Go for it then. 50% of the plays? Okay, go for it.
Well, we don't have to say a number of 50%, but that they're going to be in the rotation throughout the year. How about that?
I think there's going to be a heavy rotation.
I'm going to say some names.
Okay.
Mop-up duty doesn't count. These guys are going to be in the rotation for the entire season. In the rotation. Makari Vickers.
Gosh, in the rotation, I need to know how many. I mean, that's you got to give me a list of the guys you're going with first. I mean, it's hard to know with who you're.
Let's do this, Jay. Non-negotiables, guys that will be playing day in, day out. let's take those off the list.
I just don't think Vickers is a guy that I can say is going to be in the rotation right now.
I don't think he will be, Jay. That's my point.
Here's what I'll say. Woody Washington, Gentry Williams, Des Malone, Jacoby Johnson. Those four, to me, are in the rotation, okay? Now, after that, I think you maybe look at a guy like what about Kenai Walker? I mean,
look, I'm way higher on Kenai Walker than probably most people in this chat. For sure, higher than you are on him, and I know very well I'm higher than Hunter is on Kenai Walker. If you go back and look at some of the tape when he came in last year, yes, he got beat occasionally. So did Woody Washington. Kenai Walker made about as big a breakup plays as maybe anyone on the team. He broke up more balls last year than maybe anyone on that team.
Let me ask you this and ask our viewers this. Drop it in the chat. Also, I don't know if you want to call in. We have a call-in link as well if you'd like to call in and talk. Maybe Hunter can drop it in there in the comments there. But what more importantly, Dolby, I haven't included Dolby yet, Ricky, because I'm wondering about Cheetah there. But hey, maybe the question asked would be this for you guys would be, is there a guy that not a lot of people are talking about that you think might actually play a lot? Like that we just didn't mention there. Is there somebody we just didn't mention that you think, watch out for them? I think they could play quite a bit. Or is what we mentioned with those 4 or 5 guys, do you think that's pretty much it? I mean, the guys we mentioned in there was Gentry Williams, Woody Washington, Jacoby Johnson, Des Malone, and
Kenai Walker.
Those 5 right there was mentioned. Is there anybody else?
I would like to see 6.
Okay, so who would that be? Dolby at Cheetah. So we're not really including him at cover right now, defensive back. So there's the link. If you would like to call in, if you have a question you want to call in, if you want to call in, you want to call in, whatever you want to talk about. There it is.
Keaton, the guy from San Diego State is Des Malone, who I think will be a day one starter, game one starter in Des Malone. I am really high on Des Malone. And Jay, I know you're probably against what I'm about to say. And I'm going to go with what Ron said. There's a guy that everyone is really high on that maybe there could be a chance that he loses his job, and it's Gentry Williams.
Hey, no chance of that, in my opinion, unless he's hurt. Gentry Williams is who you're saying he's going to lose his job even if he's healthy?
I didn't say just if he's healthy, but if a guy is continually banged up at some point, you go with someone else, Jay.
Yeah, but man, he is so good when he plays, Jeremy. And he may be healthy the whole year this year. Hey, Malone, cover guy, Ricky said. Malone is a guy, in my opinion, I think Sooner fans are going to absolutely love Des Malone. And I think he's a cover guy. I think he's a guy that says, hey, I'll be on an island. Doesn't bother me at all. I think he's that type of attitude. How much of playing defensive back is attitude mentally, besides all the tools you have to have? It's definitely a can't be worried about getting beat because you're going to get beat. You got to come back to the next play. You got to wash it, forget about it, and move on. The great corners can do that. The great corners can be beat and then come back next play and make a play.
A lot of people talking about Woody and Chester. I'm going to burst the bubble right now. Woody Washington's playing, and he's going to play a lot. Now, where he plays is to be determined. Is he a nickel guy? Is he more of a third down guy to add a DB? I don't know. And I want everyone to understand, Jeremy, am not saying Gentry Williams is going to get benched because he can't play football. Not what I'm saying. I'm saying there are certain guys. We've seen him before at OU. So much talent, unbelievable talent, but cannot stay healthy. When I say healthy, I'm not saying that it's going to be a knee injury. I mean, just something where he's banged up and can't be 100%. There's a lot of guys that have in the past that have had that and have gotten beaten out by someone. If someone were to step in, Jay, for him, let use an example here. Let's just use Jacoby Johnson. Okay, Jacoby Johnson steps in if someone's injured and he gets 2 or 3 picks. At some point, the injury bug could hurt. I hope Gentry Williams is healthy all year because he was elite when he was.
Yeah, I agree, and I agree with Monty's here big time. I do think Zach Alley will And just hearing Brent Venables talk at SEC Media Days, I think that's something they want to do more, is they want to put guys out there on an island and then be able to cover. And hey, real quick, I want to go up here to Chief says Woody will play until or unless he starts getting roasted. And real quick on the Woody Washington stuff, let me say this, because Jeremy, I know last year I wouldn't say I sat and just praised him all year, right? I was kind of, I wouldn't say down, but I was just kind of neutral on him. And I think maybe that's because just you see Gentry making the plays. He just didn't. He was good. He covered good. But I think maybe this year we see Woody Washington make actual, maybe some game-changing plays. I do. I think they're going to move him around. I think he's going to make more plays, more tackles, maybe be around the ball more. I mean, let's face facts. He was not around the ball a whole lot last year because they didn't throw towards his way. So,
Richard, Bowman, Jennings, Bowen, who at safety? Yeah, two of those three, along with maybe Woody Washington back there some. I got to ask a question to all the viewers here. And again, if you want to call in, call in. If you don't, that's fine. That's great. But Jay, viewers, Hunter, all you guys that are watching this, let me ask you a question. Why, or I'll start with a different question. Should BV and staff have treated Woody Washington and him coming back the same way they did DG? Said, hey, you can come back, but you're not starting. That's
I don't think, Jeremy,
that's what they did to DG. Should they have done that to a guy like Woody?
I don't think they said, DG, you're not starting. I think it was more of like there's going to be an open competition. And
they basically said you're not the guy, Jay.
Jeremy, I'm not behind closed doors, and I don't know about Woody Washington. I think Woody Washington is a good player. I think Woody Washington came back because he wants to try some different moving around a little bit on the defense. I think he even said that in an interview. That's one of the reasons that brought him back. He wants to showcase his talents a little more in other positions, not just play on the outside. So I think it's a little bit of both.
And by the way, I'm high on Woody. I'm way higher on Woody Washington than Jay is. I have been his whole career. I love Woody Washington. I just thought it would be a good comparison to talk about. Ron, we don't know for sure they told DG that, but it's been implied. It's basically been stated without being stated. And Chief T-Bird, you're absolutely right. All three of those guys could very well see the field a lot less than last year.
I think, and Keaton, I agree, Woody Washington's a good corner. I really don't think he was – I don't think he was really put in position or given enough opportunity last year to make a whole lot of plays. If you look at it, even last year, he was covering well, but when they threw his way, they overthrew so far he couldn't even make a play on a lot of times. I get so tired of the people that say somebody got burned, because you talk to the best cornerbacks in college football, they're going to get beat. And that's why it happens. Now, after Crystal's question, I got a question. But Crystal, thanks so much for the super. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you so much, Crystal. Good to have you back on here. Thanks so much for the super. We appreciate your support of our channel. Anyone who does that and everyone who does it, we're so appreciative. Let's answer your question here, Crystal. And Jay, my number one was the Georgia game and the Rose Bowl. And I'll tell you why. It's because I love that team so much. I love Baker Mayfield, Rodney Anderson.
Agreed.
And I hated Georgia so badly. Now, which one? I mean, that hurt. The Boise State game, right now, looking back, it wasn't a horrible heartbreak. At the time, I was devastated watching it. Like, I remember nearly crying when the guy proposes to his girlfriend. I'm about ballistic. I was so heartbroken that one. But the LSU game, when you miss Kejuan Jones and you have a chance to win it all in their home field, that hurt. That hurt.
Crystal, that's a great question, by the way. That's a great question. 17 Rose Bowl, I would agree, might be my number one. And some of these that are put up here, Damon says West Virginia, Fiesta, Boise State. The reason those weren't as bad for me is they weren't a chance to win a national championship. I mean, legitimately, OU versus Georgia, if OU wins that game, they're playing the national championship game. Those hurt way more to me. The Boise State, yeah, it was a tough loss, but it did not. Now, I will say this one. The USC game, I had high hopes for that game, and they got freaking destroyed. And the worst thing is for the game to be over in the first quarter. I hate that.
Mark Bradley, horrible mistake early in that game, and they lose it. Hey, if you want to call in and talk about your biggest heartbreak as a Sooner fan, the link is in the StreamYard chat here. Give us a holler. Call in. Love to hear from you. Appreciate it. Right now, it's time for trivia. Again, OU Houston ticket giveaway, all courtesy of the Fan Stop. www.thefanstop.com. I'm not kidding, Jay. These shirts, not only are they legit design, my muscles look bigger in them. I'm just saying, I haven't worked out. They fit so well. You got to get on the Shirt of the Month Club. Love what the Fan Stop is doing. Use code SURGE for 10% off your first 3 months. Sign up, thefanstop.com. If you are a member of thefanstop.com, you email us, ousportsroundup@gmail.com, so we can put your name on the wheel 7 times. Yeah, you heard me. 7 times for the drawing for the tickets of OU Houston ticket giveaway. And by the way, you're not going to sit in the nosebleeds. You're going to be down there, field level, right behind the end zone.
Yeah, and like I told people last time, I don't know if there's a button you click when you order on the Fan Stop, but schmedium, if you want to look like Jeremy, get the schmedium. Small, medium.
I think the button's over there. The button's over there.
Large, Jeremy. Okay, here we go with the trivia for the night. And then I got a question after the trivia. I got a question to ask the viewers. When was the last year Oklahoma Sooner football did not have a player drafted in the NFL draft? What year was it? The last time Oklahoma did not have a player drafted in the NFL draft. It's a good question.
That is a great question. Mez talking about DC defensive coordinator Teddy Roof.
Not 96. Y'all are close, though. I'll say that. 98. Cracker Mack. 1995. Cracker Mack with the point tonight. Way to go, Cracker Mack.
Who was the trivia winner last night? Was it Bobby again?
What's that?
Did Bobby get it again last night?
Got it last night, I believe. Hey, here's the question I want to ask the viewers. Good job, Cracker Mack. Thanks for everybody for participating. Who is the last, and make sure you go lockdown. I'm saying lockdown corner. The last true that you would say lockdown corner at Oklahoma. And I mean, just shut people down.
I know mine. It's pretty clear.
Who would you say?
It was one of the main reasons, probably the most underappreciated or mentioned reason, and Ricky already said it.
Yeah, that's
one of the main reasons that defense was so good. He was on an island the entire season. He made breakup plays to win games. Parnell Motley is one that a lot of people talk about.
That's a great answer, too.
As a guy being on an island, and he embraced it. He talked to trash. Aaron Cole was another one out of the 918, Owasso High School.
Good ones.
Yeah, I still think it's Derek Strait. It's Derek Strait.
Here's what I'll say. If you could put a attitude on a defensive back, I think Motley had it. I mean, Motley's the guy that he talked it, he backed it up, loved it. But I will say this about Parnell Motley. It took him a little bit, I think, to get to that level. At OU, he was not like that. I think it took him to his last year and even maybe into the season a little bit before he really, I think, kind of took that role. But Strait, to me, just was unbelievable. Sanchez was good as well, Michael.
And another guy that was
really good. Sanchez was really good.
Another guy that was not talked about a lot until his last season was Trey Norwood.
Yeah, and Bobby says Motley wasn't it. Here's what I'll say.
I don't think he was either, Jay.
Here's what I'll say about this. If you compared Motley to Zach Sanchez or Derek Strait, Motley gave up more home runs than those two. He got
burned a lot.
He got burned. Zach Sanchez, no, not very much. Derek Strait, not very much. I think those two, in my opinion, will be the top.
Crystal, that's the one I was about to mention. Jay loved him. Jason loved him some Jordan Thomas. That dude never lived up to his billing, ever.
Right. But, Jeremy, the OU coaching staff talked about him.
Oh, they did. Sure.
So, I mean, that was part of it. Nobody said Bookie. Are you surprised?
Why did you mention that name, Jay?
Yeah. Trey Norwood's a good one. But Trey Norwood played a lot of zone. I don't really see him as a lockdown, like man-on-man on an island.
You know who I would go for right now? He wasn't a DB, but he was a safety. Brandon Everidge.
Yeah. You know who wasn't mentioned on here was Michael Thompson, number 19.
Out of the 918.
Michael Thompson's a really good player as well. So there's been a lot. Nobody mentioned Trey Brown.
What do you think is the biggest key, Jay? What do you think is the biggest key or need or characteristic trait that you have to have as a DB?
Well, a couple of things. First off, it's not just on the DB. I think that's one thing that's not talked about enough is you can be a lockdown defensive back maybe for 5 or 6 seconds, maybe. If you don't have a pass rush, I don't care if you're Deion Sanders, you're not going to be a lockdown corner. It's too hard. The receivers know where they're going. You don't. But here's what I'll say. That's one thing. Anticipation, Michael
Great
said.
one, Michael.
I think you have to have amazing closing speed. Amazing. Because I think there are times that you are going to get beat off the line, and you got to be able to close quickly. You also got to be able to play the ball. I think that's one thing. If you look in the last probably 10 years at Oklahoma, they've had some really good defensive backs, I thought, that just couldn't make the play on the ball. I mean, Trey Brown comes to mind. He could cover. He was always like, man, he's all over.
Hey, and like Crystal said, Trey Brown was absolutely – people wanted Trey Brown out of Norman his first couple of years. And he stepped up and made some massive plays. Chijoki, I'm going to get you. Yeah, he never panned out. And, Ricky, what's crazy about Bookie to me, it's not how do you five-star that guy with his size? I don't understand it. How you five-star someone that size? I don't get that. So a lot of the star factor and star rating is based on size. And I'll tell you this, if they'd had as many camps then as they do now, he wouldn't have been a five-star.
Yeah, you also have to have – you can't just say size, though. I think there's some guys – I mean, you look at Eli Bowen in Oklahoma right now. I think he's not very big, but I think he's a pretty good defensive back. So
we don't know if he is, Jay. I think he is.
No, I'm just saying I think he will be. Hey, you got to be able to be – you got to be really physical at defensive back.
If you're going to play up at the line of scrimmage and bump, you've got to be physical.
And I do think Jay Valai teaches that really well, so I think they're on the right track with Jay there.
Chijoki did tear his hand. Jay, do you remember what number Chijoki was?
I can't off the top of my head. I don't want to say 0, but I don't think it's right. Was it
22?
2?
I believe. 22.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I know I'm right, Jay. That's why I said it.
You're always right, aren't you?
Apparently, I wasn't last night when you didn't get a phone and go back to February 3rd video.
Oh, my gosh. Wait, you're still hurt over that.
I never was hurt.
You were hurt. You called after the show. Now you're still talking about it.
I wasn't hurt.
Talking about it. Jeez.
Trey Brown definitely made some big time. The safety on Sam Ellinger, but even bigger than that, I don't think that's the biggest play. The biggest play he made was when he chased. Yeah. Who was it he chased down? Robert Griffin? No. Who was it he chased down?
I don't know. It was in the Baylor game, though.
It was Baylor. I know it was Baylor, but yeah.
Scott Case, man, that's a name from the past. Scott Case was legit. He would knock your helmet off, period.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, Trey Brown's one of those guys that you look up, he'd get beat, and then when the game was on the line, he'd make some big plays.
He's in the league.
Remember Stephen Parker? He made some big plays.
Stephen Parker Bobby, I think, mentioned, or Greg Gott or Bobby mentioned Andre Woolfolk. And look, they made that switch to receiver, and he was phenomenal at receiver. He was a really, really good DB and went to the offensive side of the ball and was a big reason they won a lot of the games they won.
Hey, I know we talked about this last year. We're probably going to talk about it this year quite a bit. You look at it, and there's defensive backs we talked about last year when they played zone, okay? And then we'll get to Crystals here.
Wow.
Real quick, though, they played zone. Well, let me get to Crystals, and I'll go with this.
Can I start, Jay? Can I start?
Okay, go ahead.
Crystal, first off, I'm a little concerned because I didn't know people knew us that well. It's really causing me how do you guys know us so well? Because, yes, I have broken some things. I've never damaged a TV. Go back to it, Jay. Go back to – and, Crystal, thanks so much again for the super. You're amazing. I've never damaged a television after a loss. And my go-to move was I always wear a hat during a game.
I do, too.
And I can throw it down and not do any damage, okay? I can throw it down and not do any damage. I have got irate before. Usually – I'll have to go to another room just so I can kind of vent out some.
Hey, the worst thing to me was I always wear a hat as well. I've gotten to the point where I don't really throw my hat as much, but now I take either my hand or my fist, and depending on where am I sitting, usually there's an oddman or something, I'll hit it really hard. One time it was a table, and I literally thought I broke my hand. I mean, I hit it so hard. I have thrown some things, nothing crazy. Pillows, I've thrown. But you know what? I'm better. If I'm at the game live,
I'm good at the game.
If I'm in the stadium, I get ticked and I get upset and I get emotional. But if I'm at home in front of a TV or something, I get a little more, I don't know what it is about watching it on TV. Maybe you feel like you have the ability to throw things around. You don't feel like it if you're at the stadium. But I always act better at the stadium for some reason.
And I'll also say this, and Crystal, thanks again, but I'll also say this. I've gotten less irate because I see these players who are like smiling on the field after losing. I'm like, okay, if I care more than you, that's a problem. Spaghetti, it's absolutely 12 in college football playoffs this year. First time ever. And by the way, Crystal, thanks for bringing that question up because as we all know, Sooner Surge, Surgeaholics, I'm Jeremy. I'm a Surgeaholic. I'm a Sooner Surgeaholic. And yes, I get angry. First step. Thanks, Crystal, for bringing that out in this.
Wait, what's the pasta deal?
Oh, Someone said spaghetti.
Oh, okay. Do a vote on an all-time Sooner team. Yeah,
maybe we do a call-in, Jay. Maybe we do a call-in. We have people call in and give us their all-time, best player at this position, and so.
Yeah, that's tough to. That's gonna be tough to figure that out. Back to what I was gonna say though, and Crystal, thanks again for the supers. It means a lot, it really does. We talked about zone last year and how OU played quite a bit of zone in the defensive backfield. I think they're probably going to play more man this year, but the problem with zone is how do you get the zone to be an aggressive zone and not a sit back and wait zone? I think that's, and you see some people say, well, this guy's a really good zone cover guy, not as good in man. Preference, and I think listen to Brent Venables at SEC Media Days, he said it. The first question he asked a recruit is, what are you picking? Cover 2 or man? I think deep down, all coaches want a guy that wants to play man. Don't you? I mean, I think that's the number one thing they would want. Yeah, it'd be nice to have guys that cover good in zone, but deep down, I think everybody wants a guy that can lock you down on the edge. I mean, that's it changes. A lockdown corner changes your defense just as much as I would say an interior defensive lineman. If you can take away a whole side of the field.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, and look, it's fun to talk about. A lot of talk about the DBs tonight, and it's been great. Tomorrow we'll break down. We'll raise another question to you because that's what we do on the Sooner Surge. Big shout out, Cracker Mac, getting your name on the wheel for the OU Houston ticket giveaway. Crystal's going to get hers on there as well. Those who have donated those supers in the past, you have your name on there as well. And hey, check out Fanstop at thefanstop.com. I don't know why you wouldn't. There are 2 packages to choose from. One, you will get some long sleeve shirts and hoodies in the fall winter months. The other one is strictly t-shirts, but sign up for the Shirt of the Month Club. Okay?
That's
Anything else, Jay?
No, I think Mess says it right there. They got a lot of talent this year.
It's a great way to end it.
Yeah. So.
And I'll see you all from a Walmart parking lot tomorrow. It'll be great again. Can't wait. We'll see you tomorrow night. Thanks for watching. Hit the subscribe button. Till next time.